Sekunjalo bafowethu. Sanibonani, Tumelang, Absheni, Yenda, Molweni, Lochani. Angathi masonke sira sonke sikhahla sikhona khona. Hayi nami ngiright kakhulu konke kuhamba kahle. Ngiyobe ngiyaganga mangathi kukhona okungahambi kahle ngobe ngiganga ngenkosi. Yonke into ihamba kahle, ayikho into ephuma eceleni njengendlu yomxhaso. Yonke into ihamba kahle straight ngoline. Bafowethu, welcome back to my channel, Wonder Holy Debate. Namhlanje, I want us to touch on a sensitive topic. I want us to touch on the name Christian. I know a lot of people are aware about the name, where it come from, who created it, and when did it start to be used. All things like that. Let's touch on that. You know, it's so nice to follow something that you understand where it comes from and where is it going. Things like that. It's very, very nice to follow something that you do understand. Now, without wasting time, let's start on who came up with this name. Who came up with the name Christian? Or who started calling the believers Christians? And we will also come to what were they called before, right? The name Christians was given to the believers by the pagans. The pagans, non-believers, gave the name Christians to the believers. It was actually a mockery name. It was a mockery name. It was not a nice name when it was given to them. Some will make it nice and say it was a nickname, but to say the way it was a mockery name. It was used to mock the believers or the followers of Yahushua at that time. Where did it start? It started in a country that was known as Antioch. Antioch is in modern days is known as Turkey. That's Turkey. You know that Syria, Turkey area? Yeah, that's the country there. That's where it started. That's where it started. It was created in the year 40, between year 40 and 43 AD. That's when it was created by the pagans, not by the Christians, or the name was created by God or something. It was given to the believers by the pagans. If you want to see where it started and when, I think you can open in your Bibles, open Acts 11 verse 26. You will see there that the name was started in Antioch, the modern day Turkey. That's where it was started. Now, how were the believers called before they were given the name Christians by the pagans? They were called the followers of the way. They were called brethren. They were called saints. Yeah, and those were the names. The other name is disciples. They were also called disciples. Yeah, so those were the names they were known by. That is why if you check in Acts 9, I think it's verse 2, you will see there when Saul was still looking for the Christians to prosecute, who later turned to be Paul. When Paul was still Saul and he was looking for the believers, or he was hunting them by the name of followers. He was looking for the followers of the way. That's how they were known. They were not known by the name Christian. So that is what they were called before. And later on, the pagans decided to give them a name and say, these people, yeah, because you guys follow this name, man you call Christ, and you Christians. That is how the name Christians came by. Now, the believers themselves, they avoided this name for decades. For many, many, many years, they were avoiding to be called by that name. They did not want to be called by that name. Why? Simply because they knew it was a derogatory. Hey, isilungu bafowethu. It was a derogatory outsider label. It was a derogatory outsider label. That's why they did not want it. They knew it was not given to them in a nice way. It was a mockery name. So they did not want to. So for many, many years, they were avoiding to be called by this name. Up until the year 64 AD, under Nero, Christians were scapegoated for the great fire of Rome. The name Christian became a crime. It became a crime label. It became a crime label. To be called a Christian was punishable by death. To be called a Christian was punishable by death. You will be killed. They will come to you and ask you, are you a Christian? If you say yes, they will kill you. That's what Nero brought. Nero was one of the emperors of Rome at that time. And it went on and on. Why were they killing the Christians? They were killing the Christians or anyone who accepts to say his name is he is one of the Christians. They were punished by death because the Roman emperors believed at that time that being a Christian implied treason against the Roman gods and the emperor himself. So kahle kahle bowuthuka izithixo zabo mawuba a Christian ulandela omunye umuntu. You were supposed to follow their gods, not another god. But as time goes on, things started to change. As the leaders were also changing. You know, some leaders were trying to fight this thing. And then as time goes on, some started to realize that they cannot fight this thing forever. Therefore, they must fight it in a different way. Change the method. Pretend to be one of the believers so that you can fight this thing from within. That is what the later emperors believed in, mainly Constantine. Constantine was very, very clever. That's why he managed to convince the believers to some of the believers to end up bowing or worshiping the cross. The sun is a logo behind the cross, but in the name of light, it is a light. And then he also managed to drag the believers from the day they were keeping, according to the day they were given by Yahweh, which was the Sabbath, the seventh day. He dragged them to the first day, which was actually his day, Constantine, the day of his gods, Sun Day, the day of the sun. Hence today you have so many churches that are keeping the Sunday more than the churches that are still keeping God's day, which is the seventh day. So that is how Constantine was thinking. Constantine was very, very clever. And he said, this thing, I'm not going to fight it the way the others were fighting. I'm going to fight it my own way. So slowly, Clement of Alexandria and Origen started to embrace the name, seeing it as a mark of royal priest. So that's where things started to change by that Alexandria. Things started to change then. He started to embrace the name. You know what? This name, we must make it look like the mark of royal priesthood. Then by the year 313 AD, Constantine legalized the name Christian. Hey, this Constantine was very busy. He was very busy with the believers. And he played a big role. So many things that the Christians are doing today were created by Constantine, including the day they're keeping holy. He even gave them the reason to say the reason why you're supposed to keep these days because your Lord Christ, he woke up on this day, yeah? So you must keep it. Yeah, hence some even call it the Lord's Day. So keep this day. This is the day you are supposed to keep, the Sunday. And people left what God told them and followed what a human being told them. So anyway, we know that by the year 313 AD, Constantine legalized it. And in the year 380 AD, Christianity became state religion of the Roman Empire. So they took ownership of that name themselves so that the believers can also feel comfortable in using the name. So Constantine pretended to be a believer as well so that everyone can be comfortable. The leader is now a Christian. So it's fine to call ourselves Christians as well. So it became the state religion of Roman Empire. Christian now became a privileged identity, often required for public office. So if you want to be a leader in Rome at that time, according to Constantine, he said you have to be a Christian. You have to be called Christian so that you can take the whatever role in leadership that you want to take in Rome. By the end of the 4th century, the name had completely flipped from slave to a title of honor, power, and cultural dominance. That's the name. That's the name Christian. The gene of the name Christian. That's the gene of the name Christian. It started there in Antioch, which is now Turkey, as a mockery name. And then as time goes on, people were killed for that name. When people started to say, okay, we Christian, now what? And then they will ask you, are you a Christian? You say yes. Then you get killed. Are you a follower? Yes, they kill you. So their name before that, they were called followers of the way. That's why Saul was looking for them. When he was looking for them, he said, I'm looking for the followers. There by Acts 9 verse 2. So they were called followers of the way. And they were also called brethren. They were also called saints, the Holy One. So those were the names they were using before. Christian is a thing that came long after Yahushua's death. So it's actually something that was created by humans. It's a name that was created by humans. And as usual, whatever a human creates, people run for it, they grab it, and they throw away whatever God gave them. As usual. Mainly Constantine. Constantine, he did a lot of things. You see these churches hanging a cross everywhere, in front, inside. Some churches even wear the uniforms with the crosses everywhere. Even non-believers, they walk around hanging crosses in their necks and some earrings, crosses and all that. That's the work of Constantine. He influenced everyone to say how important the cross is. And some people, they even believe that they can show the cross to the demons and the demons will run away. But yeah, we spoke about that in my other episode last time about the cross, when we spoke about the cross. We will revisit all these topics that we're touching on in the near future. We're gonna have an episode where we put all these episodes together and revise them, remind each other about them. So yeah, that is about the name Christian. If you have any comment, you can write any comment. If you have your own understanding, let's share it and hear what you say. But according to the history of the Bible and the history of the word, the origin of the Christian name is just like as I explained it. Thank you very much. Keep well, guys. Have a wonderful Sabbath, and may Yahweh bless you all with your families. Thank you very much. Keep blessed.